That's called a time signature. And no, it's not a fraction. You don't need to divide anything. Put your calculators away. Many times I have people come to me and they say, I don't really understand how to read music. I'm just going to think that it's 4/4 or 3/4, and anything else I'm just really confused about. I'm just going to do my best to do what my band director has told me to do. And of course, with a teacher, you can learn these pretty easily, which is why I'm here to help you if you're self-taught, or if you're having trouble and you need some supplementary material. So believe it or not, this is a valid time signature. Now, 9,999 may seem like a ridiculous time signature, and it is, but I'm trying to convey the concept. The way time signatures work, most people will think that time signatures are a fraction. A lot of beginner musicians will see this time signature and think that it means that it's in 3/4. But really, what this means is that you have 6 beats per measure, and the 8th note gets the beat. So if you have a song in 6/8, what does this mean exactly? Most people are introduced to music and they learn basic time signatures. So they learn 4/4, or they learn 3/4, and variations of that, such as 2/4, and possibly 5/4. Then you get to compound meters, such as 6/8, 9/8, 12/8. And then you have odd time signatures, such as 7/8, or 11/8, or 15/8. And of course, you can have any number on the top. If we look at 4/4, what does this mean exactly? There's different denominations of beats. So we usually use 4/4 as a way of kind of indicating that certain notes have certain length. And so we have a whole note, which a whole note is our baseline for a 4/4, specifically for the bottom number, because this note is not, it is a whole note in 4/4, because the quarter note is what gets the beat. And so we have a whole note, we have a half note, we have a quarter note, we have an 1/8 note, and we have 16ths. You can go even further, to 32nd note, 64th note, 128th, 256 even, 5/12, etc., etc. You're always doubling it. So, 1/1, 1/2, 1/4, 1/8. Basically, we just say whole note, half note, quarter note, and 1/8 note, 16th note. And anything other than these, I don't think are particularly useful. You could always just change the tempo. Remember that sheet music and music theory in general is here to serve you. That's the basis of this series, is that music theory doesn't exist in an isolated box just so that you can use it to impress your friends. Music theory exists so that you can use the tools necessary to understand any given piece of music. And so when we write something in 4/4, that means the quarter note equals 1 beat. And a beat is basically the metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the top number is how many beats per measure. And a measure is just a visual tool so that you can understand and delineate a piece of music into bite-sized chunks so that you can read them and understand them so that you can play them, hopefully from memory. So if a quarter note gets the beat and there's 4 beats per measure, that means that we put 4 quarter notes per measure. And of course, that means that since quarter note is the one, that this is 1 beat. So then you have a half note is equal to 2 quarter notes. Tied together. And we will get into articulation and other symbols later, but this is called a tie. Not something that you wear to a concert. You basically combine 2 notes together on the same pitch to equal another note, a certain length. And you can use any kind of denominations. So a half note tied to a quarter note is equal to 2 plus 1, which is equal to 3 beats in 4/4. Because remember, this set of notes only has meaning because our time signature gives it meaning. And so also you could use another symbol here, and we're going to get into this another time. If we make a half note with a dot here, this is called a dotted half note. And what a dotted note is exactly the same one that we showed earlier. It's a half note plus a quarter note, plus half of that note, more specifically. So if we have a dotted quarter note, that is equal to a quarter note plus an eighth note. Which is equal to 1 plus, interestingly enough, 1/2, even though it's called an eighth note. We use a whole note as our baseline, as a one whole number in 4/4. The way we kind of think of notes in general is we think of 4/4. Or we just think of 4 as like a quarter note. You know, the reason we have the names in the first place is because it's a quarter of 1. But it's 1/2 of a beat in 4/4. If that makes any sense. So in 4/4, this is 1 beat. And then half a beat. But it's a quarter note plus an eighth note. I know it can be confusing sometimes, but we're talking about beats here. So there's 4 beats per measure, and the quarter note gets the beat, and we have a quarter note plus an eighth note, then that's 1 beat and half a beat. So we can think of this visually as 2 eighth notes is equal to 1 beat, which is equal to a quarter note.